the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. You are the love of my life. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. I wouldn't take one step without you. I could never go on. I wouldn't live one day without you. I don't have the strength to make it on my own. You are the love of my life, Jesus. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. Until the world stops turning, until the stars fade from the sky, until the sun stops striving, I need you in my life, and here's a reason why. You are the love of my life. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. Jesus, you are my everything.
Hello once again, my brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. It's a brand new day for us to study God's Word. I want to welcome you and say thank you for attending another Living Hope Today study. It's great that you want to learn God's Word. Me too. Let's learn it together. Today we find ourselves in Joshua chapter 9, and this is a fascinating chapter. It's better for me just to show you instead of introduce it more and more. Listen to this. Now, when all the kings west of the Jordan heard about these things, those in the hill country, in the western foothills along the entire coast of the Great Sea, that'd be the Mediterranean, as far as Lebanon, and then we get specific, these are the kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Okay, so these guys are all there, and the story tells us they gathered to do what? They came together to make war against Joshua and Israel. Hey, we've seen you guys wipe out Jericho. We've seen you wipe out Ai. So we're not going to submit to you. We're going to try to kill you. All right, the plot begins. However, when the people of Gibeon, Gibeon, well, I'll show you that in a minute. When they heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they did what? They resorted to a ruse. That means they came up with a plan to trick Israel. They went as a delegation whose donkeys were loaded with what? With worn out sacks, with old wineskins cracked and mended. The men put worn and patched sandals on their feet. They wore old clothes. All the bread of their food supply was dry and moldy. In other words, they're trying to deceive Joshua, right? Look how pitiful we are. Then they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, and they said to him and the men of Israel, "We have come from a distant country. Make a treaty with us." In other words, here's the lie. We're not locals. We're like from way far away. Just look at how our stuff looks. We're so pitiful. We've been walking for weeks. All right? The men of Israel said to the Hivites, "But perhaps you live near us. How can we make a treaty with you?" "We are your servants," they said to Joshua. But Joshua asked, "Who are you and where do you come from?" And now we see that they're Hivites. So first we were told they were from Gibeon. Now we're told they're Hivites. And let's just back up a minute. Let's go back to verse 10 in the 3rd chapter and remember what God said about this region. "This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites," there they are, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. Okay, so God says, look, I'm driving all these people out. We're going to wipe them out. The slate's going to be clean. This promised land's going to belong to you. All right, now just to make it clear, let's look at this. I know the map is a little hard to see probably, but here's Jericho. They've already wiped out Jericho through the power of God. There's Ai, and they've wiped out Ai, although they had a setback, but still God demonstrated his power to defeat that whole city. All right, now we're talking about guys from Gibeon. So these guys are local guys. And by the time we get to the end of the story, you'll see these other 3 cities mentioned. This area is the Hivite region, okay? God has committed them to destruction back in chapter 3, but they are doing something that you don't see very often in these chapters. What are they doing? Well, they're trying to save their lives. They answered, "Your servants have come from a very distant country because of the fame of the Lord your God. For we have heard reports of him, all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the 2 kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth." What are we seeing here? These Hivites from Gibeon, they have faith in God. They know that Joshua and the Israelites are serving the one true God. They know that they're on the wrong side of this whole endeavor, and this will mean their total destruction if they don't do something. So here they are, standing before Joshua with their lie. "We came from a long way. Look at our moldy bread. Look how bad our sandals look. We're not from around here. We want a treaty." And our elders and all those living in our country said to us, "Take provisions for your journey. Go and meet them and say to them, 'We are your servants. Make a treaty with us.' We don't want to be killed by you, okay? We see that God's with you. We see that you have power that's beyond normal power. Please, let's sign something. Let's get off the kill list. This bread of ours was warm when we packed it at home on the day we left to come to you. But now look at it. Now look how dry and moldy it is. In other words, they've gone to great lengths to cause this deception to look right. And these wineskins that were filled were new. But see how cracked they are? And our clothes and our sandals are worn out by the very long journey. Well, the men of Israel sampled their provisions. But here's a key line in the story. But they did not inquire of the Lord. We don't need a prayer meeting. We know what we're doing. These guys are here. Look at their stuff. They must be from a long ways away. They're not from around here. They're certainly not part of the promised land that we've been commanded to take. Should we ask God about it? Nah, we don't need to ask God about it. We're smart enough to figure this out for ourselves. Big mistake. Big mistake. How many times have we made the same mistake? Anyway, okay, here's the story. They don't ask God what to do. Well, what happens when you don't ask God what to do? You do what you think's best, and then you suffer. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace. So, okay, you guys want a treaty? Okay, we believe you. You're from a long ways away. You're not part of the people we're supposed to displace. So, okay, where do you want me to sign? We'll have peace with you. He makes a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. Now, this was back in the day where your word meant something. So if you said you had peace with a people group, it was an irreversible treaty. You can't just say, well, I didn't mean it, and then kill them all. No, your word meant something, and the Israelite word was their bond. They were tied to what they said. But watch this, verse 16. 3 days after they made the treaty with the Gibeonites, the Israelites heard that they were neighbors. What? Living near them. Oh, man. Are you kidding? These guys lied to us. They're really locals. We're supposed to be dispossessing them. God told us to get these people out of here, and now we made a treaty with them. So the Israelites set out, and on the third day they came to their cities. These are the cities I had circled on that map: Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim, something like that. But the Israelites did not attack them. Why? Because the leaders of the assembly had sworn an oath to them by the Lord. They have promised. Their word is golden. They're not going to go back on their oath. They swore by the Lord, the God of Israel. The whole assembly grumbled against the leaders. Yeah, I'm sure. You guys, what are you doing? Why'd you do that? But all the leaders answered, we have given them our oath by the Lord, the God of Israel. We cannot touch them now. So just understand this. These Gibeonites, these Hivites, they humble themselves. They believe God is real, and they know they're on the hit list. What do? They ask for mercy. They come up with a way, even though it's deception, they ask for mercy. So what's Israel's response? Well, we can't attack them because we made a treaty. So verse 20, this is what we're going to do to them. We'll let them live. Well, that to the Hivites, to the Gibeons in Gibeah, is that a victory? Would you rather be wiped out and everything burned up and taken from you and you're all dead, or would you like to live? Well, Israel says we're going to let them live so the wrath will not fall on us for breaking the oath we swore to them. We know God's going to make us pay if we go against them after we've made this treaty. So they continued, let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water carriers for the entire community. So the leader's promise to them was kept. There it is. We didn't go back on our word. Then Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said, why did you deceive us by saying we live a long way from you while actually you live near us? You liars! You are now under a curse. You will never cease to serve as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of my God. They answered Joshua, your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and to wipe out all its inhabitants from before you. So we feared for our lives because of you. That is why we did this. We would rather have mercy. We would rather have life. We would rather serve as your wood cutters and water carriers than have you annihilate us. And we know God is with you, and we believe, and we need mercy. So we came up with this plan, and we asked you for mercy. So we are now in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you. So Joshua saved them from the Israelites, and they did not kill them. So this God that seems so ferocious in the Old Testament at times when whole villages are getting wiped out, he doesn't go to Joshua and say, you've been lied to, so this gives you the right to overcome their lie and wipe them out, because I want them all wiped out. No, the God we serve says, okay, I'm going to show them mercy. I'm going to let these Hivites live. Now, you should have prayed. You should have asked me what you wanted me to do. I could have told you it was a lie, but this is how it played out. And now that you've made this oath, I'm going to honor that oath that you came up with because you're my people. And okay, I'm going to let these people live. They're going to be shown mercy. This is an illustration of redemption. These people humble themselves. They come before the Lord, so to speak, as they come up with their ideas on what they can do, and eventually they come to a place where they are not going to be destroyed. What's it take? Humility, and a willingness to let your whole life change. Now you say maybe they shouldn't have done that. Well, what was the alternative? Right? That day he made the Gibeonites woodcutters and water carriers for the community and for the altar of the Lord at the place the Lord would choose. And that is what they are to this day. As we pursue the Old Testament, we'll see these people pop in again. But just understand what God has done to save these people, even through the mistakes made in the camp of Israel by the leadership. What should we do? Well, we can recognize God as merciful. We can recognize God as extending grace even to people, groups that he determined to wipe out because they humbled themselves before him. They believed, they knew he is God and he is going to do all that he says. And by doing so, they saved their lives. God had mercy on them. But we should also learn that, the plan should be prayed about, whatever the plan is. God told them the plan, but they refused to ask God for direction even amidst the plan. And what happens? They get the results of Joshua 9. Very interesting chapter, very interesting. So pray about the things in your life today and realize that God extends mercy to any of us who humble ourselves before him. God bless you, church. Serve him well.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God.